You got me, Wonder Freeman. Mansoor is off the air now. You can start. Thank you. So here's the thing. I actually run the group that has all the Druze. So, by the way, Jojo Rabbit, American Sniper, welcome, welcome, welcome to the club. And I actually run the group that where everybody's talking. And what happened is that yesterday I went to several lives, not on my channel though. And I thought, you guys, I feel like I should give you a rundown on everything that's happening, even though I've seen a lot of you guys in many other channels. So I was like, I don't know, can I bring something new to you or not? Because I guess yes. So I hope yes. So did anyone here watch anything else and anywhere else that I was part of? Honestly, okay, how dare you be late? Well, I was very tired and I thought I thought, you know what, I have to do this because I owe you guys everything that's happening. And I'm sorry, Shauna, for ruining your beauty sleep. I'm so happy to see you here. But thank goodness America pissed me off, so I am full of energy. It's full of energy, it's like kind of energy. So it woke me up. I just was reading, like, Israel was striking the Syrian convoys, the Syrian army, the terrorists, the jihadists. Okay, so I think I'll start from the top. So so what's been happening in Syria is that it's basically a declaration of genocide, and I'm going to prove it to you. So there are several minorities in Syria. And by the way, here's the thing. We focus on the Druze, but I've also heard that things are happening to the Alawites and the Christians, maybe on smaller scales. But in general, what happened was that one of the problems with unifying Syria is that there are minorities who are not enjoying, who are not enjoying the ideas the new regime has. Now, what are the ideas that the new regime has? It's basically the Taliban. Why is it the Taliban? Have you guys seen? So this is why I hate whitewashing so much. Nobody reports on that. This is something nobody reports on. But I don't have it right now. But if you want, I can look it up. I'll think about it. And they've been in Damascus. Girls who go to school are forced to wear a niqab. They are fully covered, fully. This is not something that was the standard in Damascus. And ever since Jolai took over, the women there completely covered. Taliban, they are the Taliban. They are jihadists. And here's the thing. One of the things why somebody went around, and also actually I was surprised, but it's in one of my videos that I made that I shared, right? So I have a whole playlist on Syria and the Druze and everything. So one of the videos I shared, there was a reporter that almost did a job, as in almost, because she went to Sweden and asked, hey, why are you hesitant about giving up your arms and your control to Jolai? And she was interviewing a woman, and she said, because my hair is not covered and I don't want to cover it. And somehow, of course, because we are living in a demented, sick world, the woman reporter, in the final words, the conclusion from the interviews, which, by the way, we were all listening to the interviews because they shared it. She was like, there are some worries, but like there is no doubt that they love Jolai, or something that I thought, you are evil. They are trying. They use Middle Eastern language, right? They have to word their way in the interview, they have to use words that would not get them eliminated immediately. Like saying, hey, we're going to fight Jolani until the end, because that would mean that would have sped up what we're seeing right now. So they've been, she's been saying, listen, I don't want to wear a hijab. So I would love to be part of Jolani, but I think he's too Islamic and I'm Druze. And this stupid reporter, which I really want to, they are this evil report. I've seen it. This is something I have to share. I've seen this American reporter who goes around, and now he is hosted in different big platforms, and I blocked him because he stalked me. He was a stalker, and I sometimes look at him and I hear him listen and give his like analysis, and I always think like, should I go out one day and tell everybody he stalked me? I don't know. And I just thought like, you know what? I don't care. But he was such a stalker. Like I brought over a friend of, and he's like, you see, he came as a journalist and he talked about how he lives in Jordan and how much he understands the Middle East because he spent so many years like studying the area. I brought a friend to sit down, to be with me, right? While he was the pre-heavy stalking phase before I blocked him. He was an Arab. We went to the Arab area. He spoke Arabic. He looks like a Bedouin, no offense. And at some point he kept talking about how Jews are like this and they're like versus the Arabs who are like that. At some point I was about to tell him that my friend that he's with us in the table is a Muslim, comes from a Muslim family, an Arab Muslim family, speaks perfect Arabic as his first language. And he spoke Arabic in front of him. And when I was about to blurt it out, my friend was like, don't tell him. It was like, don't tell him. I want to see how long, if at all, that self-absorbed American journalist who knows so much about the Middle East, how long it would take him to figure out that he's sitting with a Muslim Arab. He didn't figure it out. I don't think to this day that he knows that he was an Arab. To this day, he doesn't know he was sitting with an Arab, who anyone who is really Middle Eastern would have known right away. Because of how he dresses, how he presents, how he talks. And with the fact that he was literally speaking Arabic in front of him. You cannot, they like the person. Why do you live in Jordan? You cannot distinguish Arabic from Hebrew? You don't know who is in front of you. You know how easy it was to fool him? We just fed him bullshit just to see if like he catches anything. And my friend was like, yes, as a Jew, you know. As a and at some like and with time, like right, he's like he too. It's amazing. And like the more that we talked, and we had like a long night, right? So because he kept following us. And I was at some point, I was like, to my friend, I was like, can't you do something like Arab style to him, please? Like he's annoying. And he was like, I'm not that kind of person. Annoying Arab. Anyway, he disagreed. But also, like the longer the night progressed, the more he was exaggerating his Arabicness, right? The more he used like obvious, like the more he inserted Arabic expressions the more he started calling and like talking in Arabic, but emphasizing the h and the r and the fact that it's Arabic. I was like, oh. And he didn't figure it out. And he goes around the world claiming to be an expert of the Middle East. He is in America bullshitting Americans. And that bullshit is costing life. That misunderstanding, that this like this, it drives me crazy. And here I go again. So this is something that I talked about in 3 lives yesterday. Tribalism. Trust your tribe from time to time. You know, the Jews are your like the Israelis. We genuinely are the allies of America. Genuinely. Okay. The Americans, they wouldn't trust a person like me who tells them, hey, this is just the way Arabs talk because they are in a very hard situation. But what she's actually saying is that she's terrified that the people that she was interviewing in Sweden, what they were really saying is that they are completely terrified of the thought of living under the militias of Jolai. That's what she was saying. But in the end of that, in a video that was watched by millions, she said, oh, it seems like they want to work together and it's going to be fine. And they are looking forward for the unification of Syria. That woman, this person, the media, those kind of journalists, in an ideal world, they would be sent and judged for the damage and bloodbath they bring. So important. And another thing I said about the Druze and Israel relationship is that I said because Israel is aligned with the West, is aligned with America, don't trust Israel either. So what was happening is that Israel was striking, Air Force, striking the jihadists that were, and they're butchering people in Syria. They kidnap women, they rape them. Everything that's happened in October 7th, that's what they do. But this time they're smarter about it because they said no filming. And I'm going to prove everything I'm saying. I'm going to go through it. I might not be able to go through everything tonight, but if there is an interest and support and share, like, comment on this video and you want to know, I will do it. Just ask me, hey, do a second part, do a second part, do a second part. Just ask me in the comments. Super important because it's late right now, okay? And I'm basically giving you some overview because I think it's important. It's very important because those things, it's not just killing people. I've also made a whole live where I explained why October 7th had to happen and how the media played part in whatever is happening in Europe. The media with its anti-Semitism, by the way, the anti-Semitism video is not monetized by YouTube. It's 2.5 hours. And I actually explain a lot of the things I'm saying now in there as well. And I really recommend watching it. Anyway, so when I made the Druze video, one of the shorter, I think 8 minutes one, I said, I think because Israel is allied with the West, with the United States, it cannot be fully trusted. And this is what we're seeing happening. And I want to also say what's the difference, because I want to give Israel the credit it deserves. I want to say what's the difference between the United States and Israel. Israel, when it's allied with the Druze, it wouldn't call the Druze and tell them, hey, stop fighting the jihadists. Give up. America does that. It's not only that America is not there to help strike Israel's enemies and its enemies. It's also making sure Israel cannot defend itself and it is okay with Israel is dying. And when it comes to the Druze, America would 100% will be okay with the genocide of the Jews. And that's what's going to happen. And why do I know that? Because America was complicit in several genocides already of their allies. It did nothing. It could have done everything, but it chose to do nothing and actually accelerated genocides. The Yazidis, the Jews, World War II, did they not know what's going on? Do you know how easy it was to stop the trains from going and just saying, hey, that's not cool? Oh, they could have saved millions of Jews. They could have saved at least 1 million of Jews with like the easiest strike. And they chose them to let them die. And they could have said, they could have done. And now they abandoned the Kurds. America, being the allies of America, is a double-edged sword. It's something that you have to play extremely smartly. America is also the country that pushed Ukraine to a war with Russia. Because guess what? You know how it could have ended? What was the alternative before this bloodbath? A different government in Ukraine. Yes, it would have had to suffer under the Russian whims and wants, but it would have not ended with millions of Ukrainians died. And this is one of the reasons I was very angry with Ukraine, because it was stupid believing that the West would let them win. The West does not let its allies win. It doesn't let Ukraine win. It doesn't let Israel win. It doesn't care if the Yazidis are genocided. It doesn't care if the Druze are genocided. It doesn't care if the Christians are genocided. And all of those genocides could have ended easily, extremely easily. And the Ukraine, I thought it, so a lot of people don't understand what my issue with Ukraine is. They think like I'm against Ukraine. No, I'm angry with Ukraine because I'm closer to the eastern side than a lot of Westerners are. I'm angry with Ukraine because they were stupid. Because they were stupid to believe the Americans would let them win. It doesn't let, and it's willingly. 1 million Ukrainians died. For what? For what? Why? Because America made sure they wouldn't win. It made sure they wouldn't win. And if you know anything about the Russians, right, there was a tipping point where the Russians went through, okay, if we don't win this, it's like it's an ego thing. Like at some point, right, the Russians are like, we lost so much, we have to win. Otherwise, it's a catastrophe. Could have ended if America would have just let Ukraine fight properly. And this is why I was angry with Ukraine, because what I don't like about Zelensky is because he doesn't understand who is in front of him. He doesn't understand reality. He doesn't understand anything. He's stupid. And every country leader, right, Bibi and Zelensky and Trump and others are responsible for their own country. Zelensky and whoever, because the corrupt Ukrainians who believe it's the same in Georgia. It's the same in Georgia. They did the same thing in Georgia. They same thing in Georgia. The leaders in Georgia didn't fall for it. Thank goodness. They were smarter. They tried to have a coup, but as far as I know, as long as I checked, they didn't let it happen yet, at least, unless I'm not. So the leaders in Georgia were smart enough not to fall to the same pitfall that Ukraine did. And it's not that the Georgian people even understood what kind of awful trap was being set up by the West to them. But damn, I'm glad that the Georgians did not fall for the same thing the Ukrainians did. So the Ukrainian, and this is why I was angry with the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians fell for it. The million of people die because they're not allowed to win, and it could have ended way faster. There is something so disgusting, and I'll keep saying, it's every country's leader responsibility to take care of its own country. The Americans are Americans. The way they are, it's always the way they've been. Just like they are now facilitating the genocide of the Druze, just like they allowed the genocide of the Jews, just like they allowed and facilitated the genocide of the Yazidis, just how they didn't do anything and actually made it worse for Christians around the world. Nothing about the American behavior is not classical American. It's what they do and what they always did. A country leader needs to understand what the country in front of them is. America is good only if you understand how America works. Only if you understand that you have to. This is why the Americans are so angry with Bibi. Bibi is smarter. The Israelis like Bibi, right? Why is the Americans hate him so much, and why they try to bring a person like Ehud Barak, which by the way is in the Epstein files, and here's why I think they don't want to release it. You want to hear my take? I think Ehud Barak was an American asset. I think the Americans had tried to intervene in Israeli politics to such a degree that they had a former prime minister or as an asset. And it failed because he was kicked out of office with a great shame and hate a couple of years after he started. It was clear that it was awful. And it felt like the Israeli public wasn't so stupid. But I think what it actually reveals is that how far, this is what my estimate is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if what the Americans are trying to hide is actually how far they went to undermine Israel and Bibi. That's what I actually think they're trying to hide. It's not the other way around. It's that they tried to bring Israel down. And here's the thing with America, right? They wanted to bring Israel down, but they couldn't do it overtly because, first of all, it's stupid. Second of all, it doesn't make sense. It's with the Christians and people who have brains in America. But here's the thing with Americans: they don't understand the world around them as well, right? So to them, they don't understand what they're doing. So they thought they could bring a president like somebody like Ehud Barak, or could be a prime minister of Israel, and that Israel would survive it. That's what they think. And then countries collapse, like Iran, like Iraq, like Egypt. They think they can play, and they don't understand the damage they're doing. Because they want to work with people who are comfortable, with people who would say, yes, America. So here's why they hate Bibi, because Bibi says, yes, America, sweethearts. Whatever you want, America. You're right, you're correct, you're beautiful, you're great. And then finds a way, because he's smart. He's a smart person, one of the highest IQs in the world. Thank goodness. So he finds a way. But here's the other thing, right? Because not being America's allies is also a very bad decision. Why? Because the other side is retarded, technologically retarded. Like they have a lot of mismanagement issues, really. So this is what I think about America. And this is what I think because I served during Obama's time. And I saw what he was doing. And I also saw that it was not the first time. He was funding campaigns. He was an ugly, ugly person. And he ruined Egypt and he ruined... anyway, the thing is, this is what America does. It's not even Obama. It's just a cultural tendency, a cultural thing, okay? Russia always acts stupid and slow and with ego. It's just the way they are, okay? Everybody are the way they are. A leader needs to understand that. And with Ukraine being where it is, not only that they were mistaken, they didn't even understand the dynamics, because it's the interest of the United States for Europe to be weaker. So it was the interest of the United States to make sure Ukraine is weak and have that thing with Russia. Geopolitically speaking, you see, they were never truly motivated enough to let Ukraine win. It's not their interest. It's just Europe's interest. And America betrayed Europe countless times as well. This is why Europe is so vengeful towards America. And Europe, when it's vengeful, it's also like stabbing itself. So when Europe becomes vengeful, it's amazing, because their hate drives them crazy. And they stab themselves as well as the Americans. It's just the way America is. I cannot even, it's cultural. It's just the way they behave. I said it in my channel before, but people don't understand, because the media and everything, the storyline and the narrative was so corrupted with everything that had to do with the Suez Canal. You don't understand that France and England, America's friends, allies, if it wasn't for the Israeli insistence, those countries would have died because of that Suez Canal situation. And yet America didn't give a fuck. And ever since, France is one of the biggest enemies of America, which is insane that America doesn't realize it. Because of the Suez Canal thing, France became the enemy of America. But they do it the way the French do it, you know? They kiss you and then they cheat. They fuck everyone around you, because that's how they are in the relationships. They're like, yes, of course, we want to meet, and then they don't show up. So France is unknowingly, by many Americans, is one of the biggest enemies America has. And you don't know, France has a very strong intelligence network. Very strong financial intelligence network. That is France. The financial elite, that is France, sweethearts. And they are there to take revenge on America. The French, you know how they like going to the streets and shit in the rivers? Like literally, when they protest. That's how they behave when somebody screws them over. And America sees it. It knows. It was like every time somebody talks to Americans, like, the French intelligence, like what it does, it's actually kind of scary towards America. And yet they cannot connect the dots, understanding that ever since the Suez Canal betrayal, where France almost had an energy crisis that would have been detrimental to the country because of America. And America, of course, was like, America had been plotting against the United States. It's one of your greatest enemies, America. And somehow, I don't see any Americans saying it, understanding that, or even where it comes from, or what it stems from. Samantha said, France gave America the Statue of Liberty when France and England were at each other's throats, so France supported the United States. Just like it, yeah, exactly. Until the United States crossed it, and then it started acting like the French act. It's what they do. It's who they are. And here's a thing: you don't understand how hard it is to go against your cultural norms. You don't know I don't blame the Americans. They don't know any better. They speak one language. They know one culture. They think there is a difference between the culture that they have and Canada has. There is a difference, but it's narrow. And they think this is the entire world. Oh, yes, there are so many different cultures, right? Like uptown New York versus downtown New York. Oh, those are completely different people. They cannot even imagine how vast is the world. It's just one language, one culture thinking, policy. And it's okay, it's normal, people who grow up, this is what they know, this is how they think. You have to know who you're dealing with. America, I listen, if I were a politician, I'd be licking their boots all day and behind the scenes trying to understand how I would be 100%, right? I would be like, you're the head, but I'm the neck, which is a quote from my big fat Greek wedding, right? When the ladies sit and explain that, yes, the father is the head of the house, but the wife, the mother is the neck, and she decides where he looks. And I saw that, like Zelensky, that idiot, didn't know what he was what is going to go, like he was getting his country through. Especially when America has a lot more interest in Israel than Ukraine. So you see, America has a lot of interest for Israel to be what it is. Doesn't really have that interest when it comes to Ukraine. And yet it fucks over Israel all the time. So this is what it does to the country that is actually the most geopolitically important country that is their ally. Because Israel is sitting in the crossroad of Africa and Asia and Europe. And by the way, this is why Jews are the way they are. To survive living in the only crossroad, right? So it's it's a very narrow geographical area that everybody who went out of Africa, which is the whole of humanity, had to go through. And if you want to go from Africa to Asia to Europe, that's where you pass. Jews had to be smart because they had to navigate and make sure that they can manage themselves with all those cultures, with those who come from the north and the east and the west. in times where the between civilizations there was a vast gap. But Israel happened to sit between several civilizations all the time. So the people there had to be something that is different. Geography, because of geography, and I don't know how people understand that. And not only that, like, because I studied and checked, there is no parallel to the land of Israel in anywhere else in the world. There isn't a parallel to a place that had that is so intense, and it like the so hard when it comes to like this clash, right? There is no other place in the world which is like that. And actually choosing to live here. So the Phoenicians are not. Do you know why? Because they weren't part of the passageway because of geography. So between the Hebrews and the Phoenicians, there is a mountain range, and it made way more sense to go through Damascus. So they're not the Phoenicians. So it wasn't the Phoenicians. They went through Damascus, which was the Assyrians. So no, the Phoenicians were not the same. And what's the difference between the land of Israel and the Assyrians is that the Assyrians they weren't stuck between like a rock and a sea, right? Between the river and the sea. It's like Israel is like a passageway that is extremely narrow. And once you cross over to Syria, right, to Assyria, it was more spread out. So it was very different dynamics. So that's a different thing. So the Jews are different. They are unique. But like, I think it's like, I don't know if it's insanity to live. And here's the thing, like they chose this country, Israel, to be holy. And it's like pure insanity, because it's one of the hardest places on earth to live in. It doesn't have. It's like it's a passageway. You literally decided that the bridge is where you live. This is where you are. Anyway, it's geopolitically extremely important for maritime trade and world trade, and because Israel is where it is, if you have this trade going on. Otherwise, if there wasn't the Israeli threat, which is what Israel proved itself to be in the Suez Canal crisis, Europe would have been cut off from the East. And and everything that passes through this area would have been blocked by Islamists, because this is what happened in history, basically. This is what happened in Israel in history, and Israel, with its culture, manages to block that. The Islamic nations around Israel have nothing to lose from blocking world trade, literally nothing, except for like the corrupt kingships that the Brits had established, right, by corruption. Israel is the only one that is genuinely, out of its self-interest and its self-preserve, and it's like its own philosophy, would be the thing that protect world trade that goes through there. And people think I'm saying like, oh, you're exaggerating. First of all, learn some history and why Europe had to discover America to begin with. And second of all, I would recommend to never think that it is the right thing to do to minimize what the jihadists could do and what Muslims would do, because Israel was very, very, very honest about who they are. You can see interviews with Golda Meir. You can see interviews with anyone, right? And you can, like 60, 70 like years ago, and they would try to tell them what we're facing. And the interviewer and the writer, like the professional journalist, just like the professional journalist in Sweden, would be like, ha ha ha, you're exaggerating, aren't you? And now you screwed up your own countries. Why? Because if you go around the world and it's like, oh, it's not all Muslims are bad. There are moderate Muslims. Why do they think that? Why does why, let's say 5 years ago, 10 years ago, why were Europeans and Americans so certain that you can do anything with those ideology possessed crazy people? I'll tell you why. Because every time Israeli said, hey, you need to listen, they were like, nah, it's you dirty Jews. And it's funny because every person, I'm sure in their mind, thought they were doing the right thing, right? That they were protecting, and it's like, oh, these people, they exaggerate. They're so intense. Oh my God, they're so militaristic. They're so they're warmongering, crazy. We must protect we need to put things in proportions. And what happened? I'll tell you what happened. When the dinghies came, when Angela Merkel stood up and said, hey, we can manage. Nobody thought, even those people who are so smart right now, nobody was like, what are you talking about? It's going to be a catastrophe. Why? Because the Israelis and the Jews are exaggerating. They are the problem. If it wasn't for the Israelis and the Jews, the world was better. And you know what's funny? That the British government and the French government knew that if it wasn't for the Israeli help with the Suez Canal, their countries would be in huge trouble. And it was so much more comfortable to just back off, let Israel just finish the job alone against what the Americans wanted, and pretend that the Israelis are crazy. After the Israelis already made sure that they're gonna keep getting the oil that they need by not blocking the Suez Canal, which they wanted to do. Nasser wanted to bring Europe down. He was a lunatic. Oh, that would be amazing. We will see the 1956 records next year. Amen. That would be very interesting to see. Well, Israelis are crazy. Enjoy your jihadist Mamdani communist mayor. Also in Minneapolis, I saw. Good luck with that. Rebecca, is it true the Israel government is about to collapse? Looks like it. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Probably. I don't know what's their plan, but yeah. Israelis can function without anyone telling them what to do, which is one of the interesting pluses of having people who are stubborn and self-reliant. But it's not ideal. 100%, it's not ideal. All right, so let me go through the super chats. I feel like I didn't talk about the Druze and everything I wanted to show you. What time is it? It's 40, yeah. Just say like a Bedouin, not in my neighborhood. It's funny. It's, one of the things I always say, you need to know who you are dealing with. Like, if you know the other's culture, like America is a great asset, is a great friend, is a great thing, but you need to know them. You need to know them, and you need to know how to play around it. Because in the end of the day, America is a better option. China and Russia are way worse. Like, you cannot, like, right? They're just, they're stupid. I mean, they don't care even about their own people, which is a good indication, right? Like, so yes, America, the way it is, it's like, it kind of sucks. But if America didn't care about its own citizens, which started happening, then America becomes very dangerous. But America has a good system, so it's not the worst. Like, I think I made a video about it where I explained why there is a twofold mechanism when it comes to America, because there is the American people, and then there's American government, and you need both to dysfunction in order for America to be a real problem. And thus far, it somehow managed to balance itself out, but now it's like iffy. So why am I saying that? The Bedouins, they're really good in certain jobs in the army that no one else can do. So yeah, they are not the most, they are wild, but if you know how to approach them, by the way, he wasn't a Bedouin. If you know how to approach them, they are a real asset. But you need to know. It's very interesting. By the way, those who are opposing Hamas in Gaza right now the most are Bedouins. Why? Because in the Arab society, Bedouins are second-class citizens. So they treat Bedouins like shit. All right, Harbinger Zero, thank you so much for your support. Yes, American financiers bankrolled 2 genocides in Europe in the 20th century, but please don't think that the average American is for this. They found out decades later that about this idea. Yes, 100%. I know there is the American government and the American people, and this is why it's a two-tier, like it's a two-layered system. So there is a safety net. The safety net when it comes to dealing with America is the American people. Right now, the American people are kind of going crazy, but it's not new either. But it takes it's more complex than China or Russia, where there's one person who needs to flip, right? In America, there are more people who need to flip. So this is why America is such a better thing. And also, because of that culture, this is why they're technologically advanced. This is why they have so much more to offer. Apologize. Thank you so much for a super sticker. Unfortunately, I cannot see it in this platform, but yes, thank you. Okay, Japister. But Israel is responsible for Epstein and pedos. See? Yes, of course. Yes. Listen, okay, American Jews are America's problem. I mean, they can come to Israel if needed, but only after they are here can we whip them into shape. Until then, it was your job to whip them into shape. And believe me, we've been talking about it, because like I said, now that there might be a jihadist as a mayor of New York, and I don't know where America is going. There might be many Americans that would come to Israel, and the Israelis already kind of started thinking about how we whip them into shape. I mean, they need to go through re-education. A lot of them are blue-haired walk stars, but it's okay, we send them to hang out with their friends, the Arab friends, and then they snap out of it fast by themselves. There are ways, Baruch Hashem, there are ways. Harbinger Zero, I keep saying our real fight is against the global financial elite. National borders mean nothing to these people. Some are American, but not all. Yeah. I don't think Yeah, yeah, it's all over, like it's everybody in the world, right? It's all over the world. There isn't a country that isn't there. And yeah, everybody wants to be part of a club. Imagine you yourselves, right? Imagine that global financial elite invited you to their club. It's really hard to say no, especially since I like good food, you know. If you feed me, I'm way more open. Just just so you know. Just so then why don't the French fund their own medical research? Why do they keep taking DoD fund? Why wouldn't they? What do you mean? The French would make sure to take everything from America if they can. That's where they don't, like, it's like they're like the one of the things that what kind of the game that Europe had been playing is that, okay, America, if you don't want us to take any initiatives on anything, then you protect us. That's the game. This is why America screwed itself over with paying way more and doing all the work and heavy lifting, because it stops its allies from doing anything. The Europeans were like, you know what, fine, you do everything. And then they act like people, like the way people act when the decision making option is being taken away from them. And with time, they became more and more corrupt and corrupt and corrupt. So, all right. Thank you, Josh. And thank you, GA, for gifting 5 memberships. Hello, Shauna. See, I said it's always Francis' fault. They're not the only ones, okay? Let's not. The Germans did a lot too. Like, let's not just say that Germany doesn't have the same like amount of anti-American activity, but the Germans are not. They're don't, like, like they do their own. They help. Josh Sewak, this is the downside of reliable behavior. What's the reliable behavior? Us getting screwed, or the Druze getting screwed? I don't know. I'm sorry, it's I kind of lost context. Thank you though for your support. And Japster, what are saying? Even if the moderate Muslim meme was true, they are at best the useful idiots the Yuri Brezhnevos describe. Yeah, at best. Exactly. Thank you for your support. All right. Um, Sophia, you came with like brutal. America is too narcissistic and paranoid to have a strong equal friends on basis of mutual respect. It prefers to weak frenemies and basis of one-sided dependency. Yeah, this will bring it down. It will. It will, unfortunately. But you know what? Like, we're Jews here. I'm a Jew, and Jews believe in the possibility of doing a tshuva. America can change. It can. If it managed to change a good chunk of its population from being a healthy-minded human beings into communists and jihadists, it can also change towards being more understanding of the world around them, because the other half would be like, oh no. Because you know what? Like, here's the thing. How does it feel like Americans now in California, where Gavin Newsom took over, and it's not even the worst? It feels like they're helpless, right? It feels like so depressing. It feels like they can't do anything. And yet, every time they saw something like that happening in different countries and around the world, they would be like, well, why don't the civilians there act differently? Because they had no reference. They didn't understand what dictatorship was. Now, they might understand that it's not that other countries are stupid, it's that they deal with bigger challenges. Because those challenges are now there for them to see. So I say optimism. Let's be optimistic. Japister. Even if the moderate Muslim movement was true. Oh, wait, I already did that. Sorry. Shana Sharma. Germany has two modes: try to destroy the world or try to destroy themselves. They are more predictable than France. Yeah. France are, I mean, France, they, I don't know, somehow they just slip under the radar. Maybe because they're slicky. I don't know, like slippery. Slippery France. Oh God, I'm supposed to talk about the Druze and everything that's happening there. I feel like I would have to have another. I think because you know what I think the that overarching understanding, like doing proper geopolitics, which is what my channel is. I think it's so important if you want to understand what's going on in Syria. Like if I would only explain what's going on in Syria, then it wouldn't have the effect I'm looking for. Harbinger Zero, more super chats so you don't have to take globalist thing. Thank you. Yes, that's actually a good thing. And I also have buy me coffee in the comments and PayPal and everything. So you guys, because right now, like, it's hard. I did compromise in a lot of things to be able to do what I'm doing. Honestly, just because I feel like, just like the soldiers in the front line, they're tired. You know how many already are committing because they're grinded in Gaza and then Lebanon and in Syria, doing the world's dirty job. And I see that and I feel like, yes, I took a financial hit and it's like really hard. But I feel like, like what I do is just they're sacrificing their lives and I'm sacrificing my food. I eat not as good, unfortunately, because it's expensive. But it's war, we're at war. And seeing how easily the world is allowing, if it wasn't for Israel trying to help the Druze right now, there are 600,000 Druze in Syria. If it wasn't Israel trying to help them, they would have been without anyone even talking about it. Anyone. And what's the best way to support you? So I'm gonna give you a little bit spoilers, right? Because there are a couple of things that I didn't advertise yet. But for those who are a bit more, just want to jump into some things. When I was developing this channel, at the same time, my friend who also quit, she was in a very high rank position in Apple as a manager, and she saw the cultural take of wokeism in Apple. So she quit and she decided to build an app to study the Bible, the New Testament and the Old Testament. And I don't know if many of you noticed, but I actually have a code and a link to that app and a promo code if you want to get it's a annual membership. Instead of $60 is $40. You can use if you use my promo, Rebecca, my name. But I'll tell you, the reason I didn't fully publish the app yet is because it's still in some testing phases. So for those who have an how it's called, like an iPhone, and want to be the brave testers, all right, it's good, it's working, but we're still doing stuff to improve it. So for those of you who want to try it out, there is obviously, you don't have to purchase the annual subscription right away. You can just play with it and start it without using the there's the free version and the paid version. So this is one way that you can support me for those also. And then there is my course, which I would also explain, but it's also something I have to work on about what it is and what it is about. So this is something I would really love you to join, because my course, the way I built it is I want to try and actually guide people through making and taking positions that would make a change. So it's long and it's intense. So I still, so all those things, because everything that's happening had been like putting on hold. So, and I would explain that even more further along, but there is also a link to that if you guys want to take it. So it's like, it would be like 12 meetings, and it's intense. And the goal is to train people who would actually change the world. But I would explain it with time. And the other way to support me, the reason I like the first two, right, the course or the app, is because another way to support me is to join in the fight. Learning the Bible is really important, I believe, in fighting wokeness. Yes. And it's extremely important to also, if like I want to rile up people who really want to, who don't know where to start and how to start, I want to create that group where it's really intense. And Shauna took part of it. But after the feedback I got with the first group, I know it needs to be even more expanded, because there are parts where I couldn't explain, or we didn't get to, because there's like, I would explain everything later on. Because I do it because I really, really want. And I feel like people don't have the tools. They don't know how. So that's the goal. So this is a way you can support me, and at the same time join the fight. And if you just guys want to support me directly, then buy me coffee, Patreon, PayPal really does support me 100%. Like, did I freeze? So somebody said it's frozen. Am I frozen? Nobody's answering me. Okay, no. Fine. Thank you, Investory. Yes. Patreon, also Patreon, I forgot. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so if you want to support me, I would really appreciate it. But I'm working on things that, it would be support me and support you, because I do this. I don't know. I think I really want people to understand that you can ignore the world, and by the time you can't ignore the world anymore, it's too late. So this is where we're at. And I see if Zelensky would have taken my course, I would have explained to him everything in advance, even he wouldn't be in this stupid position he's at. That's what I think. All right, I think I showed it, Samantha. Thank you, Samantha. Shauna, France is slippery because they are literally in the middle. They are Celts with the Germanic culture and Latin language. They will always be confused. Interesting. So you're saying they are in a similar situation to what the Jews were? But like failed at it, or what? No, I'm just kidding. France is large. It's like vast. It's not like Israel, where it's one pathway and you must meet everyone, and deal with everything. So where's the course? So there is a link in my in the description. So it's also a link in Buy Me Coffee. So Rebecca, do you have a outline with Bibi? Bibi is smart. He doesn't need more people. Like he understands those things. Like unfortunately, it's hard, and he doesn't always say what he really does to the public, because that would be shooting the plane in the aim. But it's hard. It's hard. When you actually are in position of power, sometimes you have to accept rotten tomatoes from the crowd, because you cannot really share what the vision is or the plan is, because that would sabotage the vision and the plan, unfortunately. He is smart and wise, like from what I've seen, honestly. He is a smart person, and even his haters, even people that I asked, because I was interested, right? People who hate him admit that this man is so crazy because he enslaved himself to Israel. Like that's his thing, right? He's like, he will, like, he's there for Israel. He would do everything and anything for Israel. It would suffer anything for Israel, because when his brother was killed, murdered, like in an operation, in the Entebbe operation, he was like, his mind went out, a little bit like mine, I guess. I'm doing this. Netanyahu, Bibi, he went from, he went door to door to door to door to door in Israel, and talked to everyone or anyone, be like, and explained what he believes in and what he thinks would be right. Yeah. People don't understand that, like, shaved several times a day so that he would look professional, learned how to talk. It's not that he was such an eloquent speaker to begin with. Yeah, so I also flipped on October 7th. That's the reality of it. And the more I think about it, the more I understand. I also need to do what Netanyahu did. There is nothing that could, like, no matter how advanced you think you are, nothing replaces door to door. So this is one thing I really want to do more. Just physically going, because this is something that is also, like, not necessarily that I would earn anything from it. But like I said, like, I got demon possessed on October 7th. When I realized, like, you know what, it's war. It's war. It's war. And yeah, it's like, in Judaism we have, like, and even Abraham, one day a man got up and decided that he is a peoplehood. I'm saying Israel underestimated Gaza. No, they actually didn't. They didn't underestimate Gaza. It's complex. I want to make a stream about Gaza as well and explain everything that's there. If you mean Israel underestimated Gaza before October 7th, 100%. But yeah. Abraham was the first mensch, 100%. All right. Okay. Any comments? Because I think I went on such a long. I almost feel like I should go through everything, that all the videos and information about the things that are going on in Syria, probably tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, you want the Druze news time now? Should I do it now? Here, let me do. You know what? Let me do a little bit of a poll. Let me do a poll and see how many want it now versus how many would rather it to be a separate live. It's just a second. I for some reason I don't have the. Okay. So I see there are a lot of like emotions here. Yeah, people are saying maybe tomorrow, and some are like, no, it's early here, do it now. So here, let me do a poll. Okay. And wait, let me do the poll. Okay, you guys are confusing me. Okay. Drew's news and now. Same now. Okay. No need for a pool. No need for a pool. People like to see more, hear less. Sorry. You didn't like my my lecture. I should have like played with a map when I was talking, right? So that you would be more like stimulated visually than just talking here, right? Probably. Like I could do that. Like, you know, I take this live and just have random map like running behind me so that you would be interested. I am tired, yes, actually. Most of you wanted to know. You went on an angry rant. Yeah, I was triggered. Thank you, Kevin. All right. Visual stimulation, not simulation. Okay. Okay. All right. I want now. Okay, I'll start now. Oh, I think I want to change. Can you change? Right, maps and so on. All right. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. Thank Shana, I love you so much. You're so like you're amazing. Okay. I'll do a short dues now. Fine. Since you mostly want it now. I'll start. And then but I feel like it's so likely that since I started talking, there probably is plenty more news. What is this actually? What are you looking at? This is not the right screen. Here, that's the right screen. So, all right. Okay, so that's Nadine. Nadine is a very cute person. By the way, follow her if you are interested in things that are happening in Lebanon and Syria when it comes to the Druze, or in general. She's a Druze. She lives in the United States, and there is a very good way. Is a way to know what she's talking about. You can just you're gonna have it in your language, but you can just hit translate. That's a good way. So she is very interesting because she exposed Wali Jumblat, where if you want to know who Wali Jumblat is, watch my videos explaining the Druze. It's complex. But the interesting thing here that you mentioned is that Jolani appointed to lead his army people who are famous for hating the Druze. So what Jolani did is that he chose people that really, really hate the Druze to lead the army. And she's like, wow, I wonder why we're saying what we're saying. That's the gist of it. So actually, guys, I love you all. I kind of feel like I'm maybe a bit tired. No, that's unrelated, but yeah, I'm just reading the chat, trying to see where you're at. So this is Bakavid, who is I don't know, he's like a mole dressed as a journalist. He likes working for the American deep state, and he says that Israel. So basically, what it says, like U.S. officials says Israel has promised to end airstrikes against Syrian army by tonight. It's so interesting. You guys are saying you can wait for tomorrow. Yeah. I know most of you voted for now, though. Why so many? Oh, thank you. Actually, you know what? Like, I wouldn't be my best right now. It's getting late. It's 1:15. So yeah, it's late. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, you all. I love you all, but I think it's gonna have to be another live where I explain it properly, because right now I ran out of juice. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's too much. But basically, there was an incitement against the Druze via the media in Syria for some time now. There are plenty of videos that show that that a lot of jihadists were talking about how they want to get rid of the Druze, and that is the setup. And Jolani, on top of that, chose people to run that ran the army that are known for their Druze hate. So they were setting up the ground, like how we say, like the writing was on the wall. So yeah, I'll do that tomorrow already. All right, everybody. Good night. I'm sorry. I know the 70% of you, 68% of you said you want to do it now. Okay, I'll continue with a little bit of a briefing. So you saw what happened to the Alawites in the coast, which was cut off because they filmed everything. But this time they made sure to not film. The jihadists are getting smarter. That's unfortunate. So they're doing the same thing, and now nobody's helping them. Amazing. Yeah, the poll was a lie. I'm so sorry. I'm such a tease. I'm sorry, guys. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it properly. 1 minute update. Here's the thing. I talked for an hour. I feel like it could be like it's a new world right now. Unlike when you just start from the get-go and what's happening right now. So, okay. There are plenty. Okay, so there are jihadists that are coming from all over Syria. So until now, the vast majority of the fighters were from Idlib, and now I see that there is a lot of people that comes from Homs, and the Kurds. It looks like the Kurds are also starting to join in, and they want to start fighting the jihadists as well, which is nice. So I think like tomorrow there's gonna be a new starting point. Everything. All right, everybody. Good night. I'm so sorry. Tomorrow we're gonna do it properly, because I also feel like I couldn't do it properly without giving this intro, and I'm tired. So the poll was a lie. Yes, the poll was a lie, 100%. All right. Good night, everybody.